Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the farm. So we are just a couple of days away looking at the forecast from the syrup run really getting started. So we are back here in the sugar shop this morning. We pulled out yesterday. I got everything pulled out of storage upstairs here in the sugar shop. We got some storage upstairs. I pulled everything down and we are getting it all out this morning. We did disinfect it all and got it real clean before we put it away last year. Like you can see, our big Rubbermaid trash cans, our food safe trash cans that we do our large volume of sap storage in, they're still all bagged up to make sure that no debris or anything got in them. But we are going to go ahead and disinfect everything again real quick this morning. Well, really just the buckets that we're getting ready to put out. So we're just squirting them down with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and wiping them out. And then by using the alcohol, that just off gases, and we don't have to worry about coming back through and rinsing it off after we do the disinfecting. We have all of our tap lines pulled out as well. And we're just going to get everything pivot. We're going to get everything all set up while we're back here today. And get the first few trees tapped. And we do have a little bit of snow on the ground. We're sitting right at about 25 degrees right now, but you can hear it is sunny enough. It's melting off the roof. So we got the sap sled hooked up to the four-wheeler. And we will load it up with buckets and lines and head out into the sugar bush. Temperature-wise, do think that we will start to see just a little bit of flow today. It's been really cold for about the last 2 weeks, 10 days. Lows down in the single digits, highs just getting into the 20s, a couple days getting up around 30, but we've been pretty much frozen solid for the last, like I said, 2 weeks, 10 days. Today, we're only going to get to right about 30, so right around freezing, but it is supposed to be sunny all day, so do expect to see a little bit of flow. And then tomorrow, sort of the same, going to get pretty cold and not warm up a bunch. Today's Sunday, so that'd be Monday tomorrow. But Tuesday, we're going to see almost 50 degrees with lows in the 20s. And then Wednesday and Thursday is going to do about the same with lows in the 20s and highs in the mid-40s. So do expect to start seeing some real run a couple of days this week. So that's why we're starting to get our lines out today. We're going to try to get the bulk of it done today. But then if we need to do a little bit of it during the week this week, not a big deal, but we're trying to make sure that we do catch as much of this first run as we can. So we're going to get a bunch of lines and taps out today. So while I've been prepping all the tools, making sure that we have the drill and the bits and all the stuff that we need, Taylor's been in here prepping buckets. So she's got the lines already in the buckets. We'll snap the lids on them. So then as we're going from tree to tree, all we got to do is grab a bucket, drill the hole, and tap the tap. We'll be in business. So I think you're going to get a lot of squinting today with the snow on the ground, but we got our first 21 buckets loaded up. We got 18 in the sled, and then we got a couple on the boxes on the front of the ATV. So into the sugar bush. Arrived here at our first little maple grove. Now what we just did off camera, I don't know if you can kind of see here, but so here where we live in Southwest Ohio, we have a pretty bad invasive honeysuckle problem. So even the trails that I made last year, a lot of them were overgrown with lots of little 18 to 24 inch tall little honeysuckle shoots. So we came through and we cut ourselves little trails through again to get to these 8 trees. And then we also addressed all the eye pokers, everything that's anywhere near head height, little below, little above. We just went through and made sure that there wasn't anything that was going to catch us in the face while we're going through, because you're not always paying attention to your surroundings. So that was a hard lesson learned, getting poked in the eye pretty good from some honeysuckle. So we went through and we got all those eye pokers done as well. So we're going to grab the drill. Taylor's putting the buckets out, and we're going to get our first taps of 2022 into the tree. So another thing that we've learned with the way that we do our buckets on the ground is we put our hoses, our tap lines into the bucket first to make sure that when we come around, like in this situation, I want to get to the south side of the tree, but it's easier to put the bucket here on the high side of the hill. So we put the line in first, so then when I drill my hole, I'm not further away than what my line is going to allow me to reach. First hole, 2022. Here we go. So we're about 4 foot off the ground, so I go right at about chest height for me. We're going to go straight into the tree. And then I have, this is 2 inches. We want to go in between 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I've got that marked. It's as good a spot as any. In, then out. We'll set our line, and then the hammer's stuck in my pocket. We're gonna tap her in. That's all there is to it. How well it's gonna show up on camera. Oh yeah, you can see it. You can see from some of these bug holes, this one's already running. So it wouldn't surprise me when I drill, you get some run right away. Yep. I don't know if you can see it forming there, but this tree's already running. So it wouldn't be a tapping video if we didn't talk about the actual tapping. So we drill our hole, we place our spile, and then when we tap it in with the hammer, we're listening for the noise change. See how the noise changed? That means it's nice and seated. When that hollow clicking sound goes away, that's when you know that you're seated in nice and snug. You're not going to lose, you shouldn't lose any sap around your spile. But that's what tells you that you're seated. So you may want to use a mallet for this. I'm using a regular hammer, but if you do use a regular hammer, these spiles that I use are just plastic, so don't go, John Henry on those things, or you will break your spile. So just be careful. Know the tools you're using. So this is our other really dense little maple grove. We put another dozen buckets here, totaling 23 taps. And we got these put in over here. This is our really productive area. If you watched my syrup videos last year, this is the spot where I talked about this would be perfect to set up a gravity fed system. And I said in those videos that that's what I was going to do for this year. But of course, just another project never quite got around to. But in the future, I would love, Taylor and I just sat here and we counted within this, I don't know, say half acre right here, there's like 35 tappable maple trees. So this would be perfect to just set up a big collection tank down at the bottom of the hill. Figuring out the logistics of getting it back up to the house would be another thing. But this would be a perfect place to do the gravity fed, and that's something that we definitely want to do in the future, because it's not the best carrying, on a good day. There's 12 buckets in here. That's 12 times 5, 60 times 8. That's a lot of weight to carry up out of there by hand. So a few of those trees were actually running. So we'll come back around tomorrow. I'll hop on here and we'll come and check these buckets that we did, and we'll put a few more taps out as well. One thing I did forget to mention while we were back in the woods, let me get it to focus, I did buy a specifically made maple syrup tapping bit, or maple tree tapping bit, to use this year. And I would say that while I don't know it's going to make a difference in my production, It did work really well on the trees. It has a much more aggressive flute. So like your cuts happen a lot faster, your plunges, it really gets into the wood a whole lot more aggressively. So don't know that overall it will make a difference. And it did come with a little bit of instructions, use a high speed drill, blah, blah, blah. Straight in, straight out. Don't blow into the tap hole. So that's a bad habit that I have. So yeah, like I said, don't know that it will be noticeable, but it's got the little pinpoint head. I'm sure that has a name. But it cut really aggressive. So we got back up here to the sugar shop. We got all 21 of those buckets put out. That was right at about 40 taps. Most of those trees were big enough to support 2 taps. There were a couple that took 3 and a couple that took 1. So somewhere right around 40 taps. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. There's not much exciting that goes on with tapping trees, but we were excited that this is the start to our sugaring season. So there's going to be a bunch more videos coming out. We got some new equipment this year that I'm really excited to show you guys. We'll just tease that. Won't tell you what it is yet, but we did get some new equipment that we are super excited with that will make our production both easier and I think it will help us achieve a better looking final product. So that's your little tease for that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, think about hitting that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and until next time, y'all, we will see you.